What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. All right, guys. It's not spooky month. No, it's we got another video from Plant. This is another SFM creepypasta. Someone paid me to investigate a strange town. Okay, yeah, I would say no. How about no? Anyway, let's see what we got here, or a Plant has for us. All right, and go.
I guess I'm what you could call a sort of freelance investigative journalist. Basically, what my job is, I go around investigating various locations and people for businesses.
Yeah, like a tiny little town called Silent Hill.
Record my findings, then send them off to whoever is employing me at the time. I don't work for one specific news outlet, so that frees me up to accept multiple jobs from almost everywhere.
Oh, freelancing.
A lot of the time, certain companies will prefer a freelancer over, say, someone on company time, either due to bias or risk. They often want someone they could wash their hands of if something went wrong.
Exactly.
Personally, I didn't mind that reason. One, because I'm very good at my job.
Really, dude?
And two, I get to set my price.
Really,
rate.
bro?
Over the years, I've investigated numerous people and places. From your average unfaithful husband to shady politicians and even greedy businessmen. I've traveled across the United States more times than I can count. Some people have paid me to locate lesser-known vacation spots even. There aren't many, but there are some that are still pretty secret to the world. Travel medias have sent me to various cities and states to give them a fresh take on the civilization there. The food, the people, the hotels, the sights, you name it.
You're not going to another country, dude.
Most companies find me by word of mouth and contact me through various means. Email, phone, letter, bat signal. Once contacted, I review the job and then send them my terms, and they either reply or they don't. A few weeks ago, I was sent a small package in the mail. It's not unusual for a company to contact me this way, so I grabbed the rather thick envelope and brought it inside.
Extra thick.
As I sat there watching the news and sipping my morning coffee,
I
gingerly opened the package and peered inside. Money. A lot of money.
Money.
I was shocked by the amount, as I had never been given this much before, and certainly not up front. A letter was placed inside, and I quickly fished it out. I read and reread the letter a few times to make sure I was fully understanding it properly. The gist of it was, this company wanted me to investigate a town. It gave me a detailed list of directions to get there. But what was odd was when I searched it on the internet, nothing came up. It was as if the town didn't exist. The letter went on to explain that something had happened in the town, and I was tasked with finding out what. It mentioned that regardless of my findings, that another payment of the exact same amount will be granted to me upon completion.
If you survive.
I took some time to look up the company that sent the letter, and big surprise, they were just as non-existent as the town. This was either some sort of scam or something worse.
How about no? Just say no, dude.
I knew nothing about this place or
these people. It's like every freaking red flag is being raised here.
But on the other, it was a lot of money. The letter did say regardless of my findings, so I thought that I could just cheese the rules a bit. I could go to this town, drive around for a little while, leave, and collect payment. So that's precisely what I planned to do.
Yeah.
I packed my bags, hopped in my car, and hit the open road. The town in question was quite far from where I lived, but the money negated the distance. I drove from state to state until finally I entered the proper one. As I drew nearer and nearer to my destination, I couldn't help but feel trepidation swell within me. I scanned the letter the closer I got just to make sure I hadn't missed any turnoffs. After about 3 more hours of driving, I found the road that would lead me to this town. It was around midday as I turned onto the road, and the sky seemed to have been taken over by thick gray clouds as I drove. The overcast gave all the surroundings a sort of muted coloring, like the life had been drained from nearly everything. The plants, the ground, the trees, the road, the signs. Everything was dull. A few moments later, I was passing by the sign of the town. Buildings started to appear on the horizon. A gas station, a few outlying shops, then the houses. A few at first.
Yeah, dude, you
Then
inside
more
hell.
becoming
You
densely
ain't coming
packed
out of
together
there.
as I neared the center of the town. The first thing I noticed as I drove through this town was that there were absolutely no inhabitants. At least, none that I could see.
Yeah.
Cars
and
were
you better
parked
hope you don't
along
ever see
roads
them.
and in driveways. The houses were all closed up with no lights on. None of the buildings looked to be boarded up, just empty. I'm not sure if you've ever been in a ghost town before, but the mystery of it is enough to chill you to the bone.
Yeah.
I pondered the letter I
I've
had
been
received.
in a couple. It's creepy.
Could my employer know the current state of the town? Was this the reason I was sent here? To discern the cause of it?
Turn around.
I have
leave
investigated
now.
many things, but this was quickly expanding beyond my pay grade. I also began to wonder why it was I that was chosen. Surely this could have been investigated by more professional means, like the police or the government. It didn't really make sense to outsource a job like this. As I was lost in thought driving along, I caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye. I stopped the car and looked, but nothing was there. It just seemed to be a flash of movement, but it passed. I was almost
They're
at the center of
watching
the
you.
town, and I decided that once I hit that mark, I'd turn around and leave, telling my client that I couldn't find anything. Sure, it was cheap of me to do so, but my entire body was screaming for me to get out.
Listen.
Just as I pulled up to the central intersection, my worst fear came to fruition.
The car died.
My car's engine sputtered for a few feet, then died. I gripped the wheel tightly, staring straight ahead, not wanting to acknowledge my incompetence. I removed the keys from the ignition and looked around. The sky had darkened significantly by this point.
Oh yeah, I think
It
I'll
gave
spend the
my
night.
surroundings an almost black and white hue to them. I opened the car door and stepped out onto the street. I pulled my phone from my pocket, but for
No
some
service.
reason it wouldn't turn on.
Oh,
it was as
shit.
if it had been completely drained of its battery life. I took a few steps and leaned against my car, wondering if I should begin walking back the way I came. Just then, I felt a chill drape around my shoulders.
Oh
My
crap.
breath visibly left my shaking lips. A voice in the back of my head screaming at me to not turn and look around. I just shifted my eyes downward and glared at the ground, shivering and sweating both at the same time. In
Sweat
my
buckets,
peripheral
man.
vision, I could see legs. There were people all around me, but they weren't touching the ground. They were all hovering, suspended a few inches off the asphalt, the tips of their shoes gently grazing the ground below. My head snapped up and I saw them. The town. All of the people that had vanished were now before me. They all hovered with their heads lulled to the ground. All of them seemed to be facing various directions and they all weren't moving, just floating there.
Feet don't fail me now.
Stationary. I could feel the strain on my lids as my eyes would not shut. I was too frightened by the sight before me. They were all wearing normal clothing. Nothing on their person appeared to have been altered. That is, aside from their faces. I had the only pair of eyes in town. Darkened holes of torn flesh rested right above the nose on all of them.
Torn
Some had
flesh?
blood dripping down their cheeks, others
Oh,
didn't.
God.
I wasn't sure why. Through this sea of horror, I saw something shifting in the distance. My eyes began to focus on it, and between the people, I saw it. It was standing near one of the townsfolk. It was holding them close to it, with two spindly hands. It was nearly as tall as the people floating around it. It had its back turned to me and was doing something to the person in front of it. The eerie silence was filled with the wet crunches of fractured bone and the gnawing of flesh. I felt my shaking hands lose grip of my car keys and they fell towards the asphalt.
Oh,
The
God.
ringing of the metal seemed to echo for miles. This snapped me out of my fixation, and I bent down to pick them up. As I stood back up, all of the townspeople were now facing towards me.
Oh,
Standing
shit.
between them was that thing. It was cloaked in shadow, and its face was grotesque.
Oh, dude,
Skin
that is
so
screwed
tight
up.
it might as well have just been bone. It had piercing yellow eyes that cut through the muted colors around us. It was chomping down on something with sharp, blackened teeth. I knew right away what it was eating, as the person who it was previously interacting with was looking at me with only one eye. It twitched its head from left to right, like an insect, before coming towards me. It moved as if it had 100 legs, but I couldn't see any. It was just gliding in jagged directions. I pulled open my car door, got inside, and locked everything. I put my keys back into the ignition and turned them. No sound. I
Oh,
tried
God.
once more.
That's
Nothing.
a dead battery.
I tried a third time, and I heard a tapping on my glass. I turned and was face to face with it. A long, barbed tongue stretched from its mouth and raked along my window. It sounded like nails on a chalkboard. I screamed. I had never been more terrified in my entire life. I begged to as many gods as I knew about to please just let me leave this place. I tried the key one last time, and the engine roared to life.
What the hell?
I put it in reverse and floored it. The wheels and axles screamed under the torque. I expected to plow through all the floating people around me, but as soon as I began to move, they disappeared. I drove for days without stopping before making it home. I sent a letter to the address that the company had given me, telling them down to the smallest detail what I had experienced. I wondered what they would do, if they'd simply reply or
Atomic punch.
Then, a few
Comes in
days ago,
bottles.
I received another letter in the mail. It was from the same company, thanking me for my work. They enclosed the other half of my payment and told me to reply if
Yeah.
I would like more work.
Screw you.
I burned that letter shortly after reading it. I'm sure some of you have noticed that I've left out some details of this story, such as the town's name and the state I found it in. That's because I never want anyone to seek that place out. However, if you do happen to stumble across a town where all the inhabitants have seemingly gone missing, turn around and drive away before you become one of them. As for me, well, I have enough money that I can take a break from my job for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully long enough to stop seeing those awful yellow eyes in my dreams.
That's cool. It looks right at the camera. Okay, dokie. That was a good one. Man, he does good narration on these things. And these are good stories he finds. So, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did. Like this video, subscribe. Definitely click on the link to the original. Like the original, subscribe to Plant. The guy doesn't even have 30K subs, guys. Come on. We can help him out. Pump him up to 50. This is awesome shit. Excuse me, burpee. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Oh, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to me, and share both videos on social media. Help us out, guys. I will see you all next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.